Hey, this is Rich with Red Phone Video. As much as I'd like to talk about that Dawn of the Dead box set up there, I'm actually going to talk about Vinegar Syndrome today. And this nice little spinny tower that I got here with all these awesome Vinegar Syndrome titles. But a friend of mine on social media told me that I needed to make a video with all my Vinegar Syndrome titles, showing them off. And a buddy of mine recently, another friend, he had suggested that I put all these Vinegar Syndrome titles on this spinny tower because, makes it look more uniform. And honestly, I'm not a fan of uniformity. I tend to like, my movie room to be a little chaotic. It's not all that organized, but I'm getting better. The main thing is I wanted to show off this spinny tower because it's got... First off, it's awesome. I mean, it's just, it holds so many movies, it's just ridiculous. But I've been putting all my Vinegar Syndrome titles in here, and I do have some more coming in, but I want to talk about what I have right now in the library. For those who don't know about Vinegar Syndrome, it was a company founded by Joe Rubin and Ryan Emerson, these two guys, and they started out basically just doing porn. But then they started moving into a line of like really interesting films, and then they started getting all these like partner labels to do business with, and they just started releasing a string of just awesome films that films that I grew up on and forgot about over the years, because some of these movies I saw on VHS when I was a kid. But anyway, without further ado, I'm gonna go through. I guess I'll start here and just kind of show you what I've got. So as you can see, I've got The Cellar. I've got Dark Tower. There's Hitcher in the Dark. There's The Fear. Satan's Blood. Cthulhu Mansion. The House of Usher. Pets. And then we have, what is this? What is that? I can't even if I can read that hardly. Oh, this is Deadly Daphne's Revenge. Batshit movie. Let's see. And then we have Bloodbeat, The House of the Dead. Deadlock. Let's see. That is A Woman's Torment. Demon Wind. Now this is a must-see. This movie, Demon Wind. For those who remember the video store days, you probably remember this awesome cover, and it even looked like this on the VHS. And I remember like when this came out on Blu-ray, I just almost creamed myself. But anyway, let's see. So we have Orgy of the Dead. We have Lucifer's Women. Liquid Sky, which, oh my God, Liquid Sky. I told myself I wasn't going to talk about these movies a lot, but Liquid Sky, if you guys haven't seen this, I think I have a slipcover edition of this also. But Liquid Sky is a great movie. It's about aliens. Like a UFO basically like lands on the roof of this building in Manhattan. And it's got that chick Paula Shepherd from Alice, Sweet Alice in it. And it's just a wild, science fiction movie. I remember it was made for like $500,000 and it grossed like $2 million. It was crazy. But yeah, that's, like I said, I think I have another edition of this. I think I double dipped on that movie for some reason. We have Sugar Cookies. We have Nobody Waved Goodbye, which is part of the Canadian International Pictures line. And we have Minefield. We have, what is this? Elisa, yeah, with Gerard Depardieu. We have The Doll Squad. Invisible Maniac. This was made by Adam Rifkin, the director of Detroit Rock City. And this was back when he went by a pseudonym, Riff Coogan. That was his the pseudonymous name he used for some of his earlier films. I want to say that he may have used that for The Dark Backward too, which is a movie by him you should check out. I think he directed that. Evil Laugh. This was directed by the Fat Kid in Friday the 13th Part 5, who's also, supposedly was a pederast. Or, anyway, I'm not going to get into that. But, yeah, Evil Laugh, slasher movie. Pretty good, not great. But Sworn to Justice. Let's see, what is this? Oh, Burning Paradise. I think that came with like my subscriber package. I haven't watched it, never heard of it. Then we have Freeway, which is a great movie with Reese Witherspoon, and the director of Freeway, Matthew Bright, also made this weird movie called Tiptoes with Peter Dinklage. If you haven't seen that, get on it if you can find it. It's a wild movie. And then we have Freeway 2. We have Mind, Body, and Soul. We have White Reindeer. Ice Cream Man with Clint Howard. Great film. That's an awesome slipcover, which I believe it's out of print now. I'm not sure. You might still be able to find it. Don't Go in the Woods Alone. And that recently got a slipcover. Because when I first bought this movie, it didn't have it. It didn't have a slipcover. I want to say it was one of the first titles they put out, Vinegar Syndrome. Back in, like, I don't know, 2014 maybe, or... and then the Mexican Gothic. The Films of Carlos Enrique. I'm not even going to attempt to pronounce that. Then we have Primal Rage. This was a fun movie. Again, not a masterpiece, but none of these movies are. And then going down here, we have Thriller. Now, everybody knows about Thriller, I would think, by now. This is a movie that... It's also known as They Call Her One Eye, I believe. But it's one of Quentin Tarantino's favorite films. And it's good. It's a good revenge thriller. And you can see how much he stole from it. The Scary of 61st. Haven't watched this yet, but I've heard good things. I think it was I think it did well in festivals. Ticks, great, awesome early 90s horror film. It's so, oh god, it's just fun. It's fun. It has Carlton from Fresh Prince in it, and a young Seth Green, and also it has Amy Dolenz in it. It's just a wonderful, fun, batshit crazy early 90s creature feature. The Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2, I don't know what needs to be said about that. I'll just pull it out. I'm just going to pull it out. Look at that. That is just, oh, that's great. And I want to say this sucker sold out pretty quick. Look at Dennis Hopper. This movie, come on, man. I'm not going to say it's better than the first Texas Chainsaw. A lot of people love to get hyperbolic with that and say that it's greater than the first film. I don't agree. I think it's close. It's up there. But it is a masterpiece in and of itself, Then we have Scanner Cop 2. We have Paul Morrissey's Flesh for Frankenstein, which is a great film. Awesome film. A Blade in the Dark from Bava. Not Mario Bava, but Lamberto Bava, his son. Oh, that slipcover is just, it's awesome. I've been really obsessed with slipcovers lately. Especially Vinegar Syndromes. They do such a good job on their packaging. And I feel like a lot of boutique labels should take note, because this is how you package movies. A lot of people would say that Vinegar Syndrome is basically just, they're just polishing turds and, selling shit in a fancy box. But I disagree. This movie, Villages of the Damned, Three Horrors from Spain. Not three whores, three horrors. Then we have Gorgo. This just came in. Gorgo. This looks like a Godzilla knockoff. Haven't watched it yet. Like I said, there's a lot of these I haven't watched, but I've seen quite a bit. I gotta fly through this. Reform Schoolgirls. We have Schizoid. We have Hard Rock Zombies. I think that's what that is. Yeah, Hard Rock Zombies. Oh, Slaughterhouse Rock. Yes, yeah, that's right. Yep. Love Slaughterhouse Rock. Fair Game. There's an awesome Australian exploitation film. Definitely check that one out. Buried Alive. Not to be confused with the Frank Darabont movie with Tim Matheson. It's not that. The Birds 2. Horrible, horrible movie, but I mean, come on. I just couldn't resist this packaging. Look at that fucking cover. I mean, it just makes it seem so ominous and foreboding, and it's such a shitty film. But it's fun. Most of these movies are fun. The Incredible Melting Man, another horrid trash movie, but fun. Dead Heat. That was like a day one pickup for me. Of course, most of these movies are. Fortress of America. Yeah, look at that. Look at that. I haven't watched it. Terror. Then we have Corruption. We have Beyond Evil. Beware, Children at Play. Spirits of the Air, Gremlins of the Clouds. Okay. All right. And then we have Debbie Does Demons. Irreversible. We have another Debbie Does Demons. See, the thing is, I double dipped on that because I didn't buy them in time for the slipcover editions, and you know, so yeah, I went to eBay and paid like double the price. I'm an asshole. I'm an idiot. I know. I got a problem because I bought another Irreversible. And see, these, you know, I just snagged them up before they went out of print, you know, and you couldn't find them anymore. But I mean, I just couldn't resist this slipcover here, you know. Like I said, it's a problem. I know, but like I said, I'm a collector, and things get out of hand at times. Anyway, The Little Hours, Scared to Death. My eyes are getting horrible. I can't read this one. Oh, Voyage of the Rock Aliens. We have Horror High. This is a double feature. Horror High, it's a good movie with Austin Stoker, who was in Assault on Precinct 13. Then we have Stanley. This is a really interesting 70s film. It has Alex Rocco from The Godfather in it. You should really check that one out. Miami Connection. Ham on Rye. Cain and Abel. Then we have, let's see. Oh, yeah. There's some titty. Marilyn Jess. See, I need to check that out. It's pretty hot. Vinegar Syndrome, man. They love their softcore, their porn. Then we have The American Scream. We have Girlfriend from Hell. I will admit, I have not watched that one yet, but I'm looking forward to it. The Laughing Dead. Awesome movie. Full Moon Trilogy. I could talk about that. I'm not going to. I need to fly through this. Speaking Parts. A new one that I have not watched yet. Then we have The Cat Creeps. The Civil Dead. Something in the Dirt. Which was also, this one went out of print really fast. Okay, and then down here we have the VSU line. We have New York Ninja. We have Six String Samurai. The Beastmaster, classic. Sidekicks, which I never thought we'd get this kind of release. Awesome film. Not great, but, I mean, it's Chuck Norris. Come on, man. Cloak and Dagger. Cloak and Dagger, that is an underrated movie. For those who haven't seen Cloak and Dagger, it has Elliot from E.T., you know, Henry Thomas in it, and Dabney Coleman. It's a great film, written by Tom Holland, who also wrote and directed Fright Night, you know, Child's Play. He's written a lot of great screenplays in the 80s. But it was directed by Richard Franklin, who also directed Psycho 2. So check out Cloak and Dagger. If you haven't seen Cloak and Dagger, it's just fun, man. This is a fun film. Like I said, this was another one that I didn't think would get this kind of release. I mean, it's stacked. Look at that. Roadhouse. Roadhouse. I mean, what else needs to be said about Roadhouse? I could do a whole video on that. Not going to. Showgirls, I could also do a whole video on that. Not going to. Got to fly through this. So, with that being said, let me spin the tower here. All right, moving along. We have Fugitive Girls. We have Sweet Sugar. I want to say those were early releases. Because, as you can see, they have no slipcovers. The Boogeyman. Then we have Video Violence. The Snuff Collection. Sick of Myself. Psycho Girls. The Queen of Hollywood Boulevard. Then we have, what is this one? This is from Umbrella, who recently became a partner with Vinegar Syndrome. I was glad to hear that. Shame. Look at that. This is an awesome Australian movie. I was glad it got this kind of release. The Adam Rifkin Film Festival. Effects, which is a classic movie that George Romero's effects crew, you know, guys like Tom Savini, worked on this film. And I'd already had another edition of this, but I had to pick it up because I believe this is a 4K. But Joe Pilato from Day of the Dead is also in this film. It's awesome. Check it out. Then we have Night Screams. We have Undefeatable. Then, Virgin High with Linnea Quigley. Look at that. And then Hot Under the Collar. I want to say I've seen Virgin High, but I haven't seen Hot Under the Collar. But I'm all about Linnea Quigley. I love some Linnea Quigley. From Beyond. This was so awesome. I mean, look at that cover. That is great. I was so glad that this got the release that it got. It deserved it. And I still have my Scream Factory version of this, but Stuart Gordon classic here. So glad it got this 4K release. I want to say this sold out really fast too, man. Like, then we have Infernal Rapist. Wow, okay. When I Consume You. Then we have Frostbiter. What does it say? Wrath of the Wendigo. Okay. Alright, haven't watched it yet. Let's see. Flesh and Fantasy. Undead. Satan's Menagerie. Ted Bundy. Made in Hong Kong, Volume 1. What the hell is this? This looks colorful. Okay. Oh, Biozombie. Okay. This came in my subscriber package. I know nothing about that. Love that cover, though. Looks awesome. Then we have Goodbye 20th Century. Nice. Okay. Amigo. Then we have Eat Brains Love, which is supposedly a funny zombie movie. Foxhole, The Devonsville Terror, Who Done It? The Clue documentary. I've been meaning to check that out. Death Row Game Show. Awesome movie. Then we have Murder Weapon, another Linnea Quigley movie. Deadly Embrace. All right. Hobgoblins. That movie is awful, but it's fun. Patty Hearst, classic Paul Schrader. Check it out. Dear Dead Delilah. Shot. Wonder Women. Almost said Wonder Woman. Wonder Women. Pledge Night. Then we have The Bees. Boarding House. This is... I grew up with this one. It's a guilty pleasure. Yeah. You definitely need to watch this. Look at that cover. The Last Matinee. Snapshot. I love Snapshot. Keep an Eye Out. This was from the guy who did Rubber. I know people don't like Rubber. They like to hate on that film, but I love this guy, you know, Quentin Dupieux, I think is his name, and he makes these crazy absurdist comedies, like Wrong Cops is another one you should check out. Jack Be Nimble. That sold out pretty quick, if I remember. Then we have Censor, Curse of the Blue Lights. 5 Women for the Killer. Then we have the Gaspar Noé film, Lux Eterna. Rush Week, Drop Dead Fred. If you don't know about that movie, then you didn't grow up in the 90s. Wolfpack, Creature. Ebola Syndrome, The Grave. I think this is pronounced Luz or Luz, maybe Luz. But this is an interesting movie. For those who haven't seen it, check this movie out. It's unlike anything you've ever seen. Trauma, Dario Argento. A lot of people don't like Trauma. I love Trauma, man. It was I mean, I don't love Trauma in real life, but the movie Trauma is great. A lot of people say that Argento kind of lost it after Opera. I disagree. I will say Trauma was probably his last great films. Of course, I love all of Argento's movies, really. Yeah, this is really interesting, man. It's got special effects by Tom Savini, and it you know, it stars Asia Argento, and it's a great, you know, it's a giallo, but it was an American film. But yeah, Piper Laurie is interesting in it. It's got some pretty crazy moments. But the music stands out to me, and it's just, the whole movie just feels like a fever dream. Of course, which Argento movie doesn't? Anyway, moving on. Her Smell. Savage Harvest. Not to be confused with Savage Harvest with Tom Skerritt, which hasn't seen a release as far as I know. But that's what whenever I first saw this announcement for Savage Harvest, that's what I thought it was. And it wasn't. I was a little disappointed. But then we have Detention. We have Assholes. Assholes. Then we have, what is this? Nothing Underneath. Oh, Too Beautiful to Die. Nothing Underneath. All right. Haven't watched it. I'll get around to it. Calvaire. This is a great film. Nightmares. Definitely check that out. I had to pick this up as soon as they announced this. Sweet ass horror film. Moving up here, we have They Look Like People. Faults, which also sold out really quick. I love this movie. Faults with Leland Orser and Mary Elizabeth Winstead. And yeah, that's great. I could do a whole video on Faults. The Kid Brother, Summer of Blood. Tragedy Girls, get on that one. Death Wish 2, classic. Almost better than the first. Not quite sure. I love them both, but for different reasons. Flesh Eater. This movie used to go by a different name, and I can't remember, but I rented it when I was a kid on VHS, and I loved it because it was directed by Bill Heinzman, the guy who played the zombie in the original Night of the Living Dead, Romero's Night of the Living Dead. Now, if you notice when you watch this movie, oh, Revenge of the Living Dead, I remember seeing that title in the video store when I was a kid. But this movie, I mean, it's got blood, you know, zombies, sex, tits, all over the place. And the movie ends a lot like Night of the Living Dead. Anyway, I'm kind of giving away too much about it, but it's a cheap movie, but it's fun. Then we have, what was that? Sinister. Yeah. Master of the World. The Long Walk. The Midnight Swim. Blood on Her Name. Madman. Which, oh man, I could do a whole video on Madman too. This was one of the first slashers I saw when I was a kid. I picked it up in the video store, and I just liked the title, Madman, you know? And it's about Madman Mars. For those who don't know about this movie, it's epic, man. This is just like, it's very shoddy in terms of, you know, production value, but it has Galen Ross in it from Dawn of the Dead, and she, like, has publicly denounced this movie, I believe. She doesn't like to talk about it, but I love Madman. It's just, as you can see, I have two of them with that classic artwork there. Then we have Christmas Evil. I love Christmas Evil. I could talk about it a lot, but I'm running out of time. I can't do it. Horror House on Highway 5. This is another one. It's just so funny. There's a sequence at the end of this movie that is just so out of left field, but it's just funny. You just kind of go along with it. Pretty Peaches. And now we can spin the tower. Alright guys, moving along here. We got Don't Let the Angels Fall. We have Satan's Children, Raw Nerve, Alien from LA, which is an interesting movie, Death Promise, Whatever It Takes. Then we have Girls, what is that? Girls School Screamers. Yeah, I have not watched that one yet. Champagne and Bullets, Annie Lee's Meat Pies. I haven't seen this yet, but it had ooh, there's some booty. It had a cool cover though. That's awesome. Look at that. Then Terminal Island, Alley Cat, which is a great movie. Alley Cat, I don't know. Some people like it, some people don't. But Alley Cat is basically, I mean, I always like to watch this movie, like as a double feature with like Abel Ferrara's film Miss 45. Alley Cat kind of has that same feel to it, but it's a good, like, female vengeance, you know, girl power shit. It's a really good movie. Surf 2, which also, this kind of reminds me of like The Stuff. It's really good. It's got, ooh, more booty. There's a lot of ass. Vinegar Syndrome's all about that ass. Surf 2, but it's got Eric Stoltz in it. This is a fucking crazy movie. Check it out. Anyway, moving on. I'm trying to fly through this, guys. Blood Theater, Blood Hook. This is like one of the most rare slipcovers for Vinegar Syndrome. Like if you get on eBay, this slipcover here, it goes for like $200 or some shit, $250. It's pretty crazy. But you know, people who are willing to pay out the ass for these slipcovers, I mean, more power to you. Blood Hook is not like a great movie, but it's, you know, it's got a cool slip. Collector's item. I'm glad to have it. Pandemonium. Cool movie, man. I enjoy it. It's fun. It's got Judge Reinhold in it. Paul Rubens, Phil Hartman. A lot of interesting people like early on in their careers. Yeah, Pandemonium is from the same director as Alice Sweet Alice, Alfred Soule, who didn't go on to do much after this. This may have been the last thing he directed, but Pandemonium's good. Check it out. What is this? Malabimba. Haven't watched that yet. But, look, oh! Yeah. Yeah, better, boy, Vinegar Syndrome. They love some skin. I feel like this stuff's going to get me in trouble here. But yeah, look at that. That's cool. Olivia. I haven't watched that one yet. That looks pretty sexy, though. Moving along here, we got these badass, I love these thick books. I wish Vinegar Syndrome would do more of these. Slaughterhouse. I had to have this. And as you can see, oh, the other half broke off there. So it comes in two halves. I got it back together. But see how it splits in the middle there? That's awesome. Slaughterhouse. Fun movie from the 80s. Hell Comes to Frogtown, which has got Rowdy Piper in it. Check this movie out. If you like schlock, you'll love it. Tammy and the T-Rex. Early performances from, you know, Denise Richards and Paul Walker. But this was a classic from my childhood, you know. It's good. Savage Dawn. Vice Academy 1 through 3. I have 2 copies, like a dickhead, of Dimensiones Occultus. And, of course, Silent Madness. I didn't intentionally double dip on those. This was a mistake. It seemed like I had ordered them through the website and then accidentally, you know, got them through Amazon, I believe. But then we have Deadly Games, Dial Code Santa Claus. Haven't watched that one yet. Memorial Valley Massacre. Spellcaster, that's good. Then we have Spookies, which is a classic film to me. A lot of people hate on Spookies. It's goofy, but it's enjoyable. I mean, if you can just, you know, if you can just enjoy this movie for what it is, it knows what it is. This movie, it's campy as shit. But Spookies is loads of fun. The Naughty Victorians. Then we have the 11th Commandment. Haven't seen that. Perfect Strangers. This is a Larry Cohen film. And I love it. I love Larry Cohen. I'm a big fan of anything that Larry Cohen does. I want to say it's Larry Cohen. Yep, Larry Cohen. Underrated filmmaker, in my opinion. Deadline. That's a movie. If you're a writer, you'll completely relate to that film. Grandmother's House. This movie was interesting. It's fun. It had a real questionable performance from Brinke Stevens in it, and I'm normally a fan of Brinke Stevens. She did a lot of stuff with Linnea Quigley in the '80s, but this movie it's enjoyable. You know, it's a B film, and like I said, Brinke Stevens' performance in it is a little stilted, but it has I think his name is Len Lesser. He played, for people who don't know, he was in Seinfeld, and he played Uncle Leo, and he's pretty creepy in this film. So if you haven't seen Grandmother's House, get on it. Then we have The Children. Oh my God, sorry, I keep pulling these movies out, but you gotta look at the slipcovers. I mean, this is just The Children has a really memorable score from Harry Manfredini, the guy who did like the Friday the 13th music, and it almost seems like he's using a lot of the same music cues. But The Children is just it's a classic to me anyway. I saw it when I was real young. It creeped me the hell out. Mausoleum, this is another one that like I grew up on, and I just have such a soft spot for this. I think it came out in like 83, 82. But yeah, 82, the year I was born. But Mausoleum, I've rented this a lot at the video store, and for years this never got like a release on DVD or anything, and like it was so hard to find on VHS. But it was a favorite of mine growing up as a kid who was always living in the video store. But then we have Corpse Grinders. Then we have Cutting Class with Brad Pitt, Jill Schoelen. If you haven't seen that, get on it. It's pretty It's pretty fun. Terrible in a lot of ways, but, you know, I think I have 2 copies of that, too. But then we have Blood Harvest with Tiny Tim. It's also a weird film, but fun. Sudden Fury, Mountaintop Motel Massacre. This is another one that I got really high watching this one night, and I just had such a good time watching it. Look at that slip. It's cool. Mountaintop Motel Massacre. I do recommend that. What is this? Play Dead. I thought I'd seen this movie, but I don't think I have. But I'll watch any movie with killer dogs. Hellmaster, the Rad 4K, which is like, I mean, this is so out of print now. Like, people are hawking this thing on eBay for, you know, $250, $300, but I'm so proud to have the Rad 4K. It's amazing. Then we have Night Beast. There's Satan's Slave. A Climax of Blue Power. No slip cover for this, I don't believe. But yeah, they were bringing that ACAB power back in the 70s. They were way ahead of their time on that one. Splatter University. We have Summer of '84, which was from the creators of the same directors who did Turbo Kid. And Summer of '84 was being made around the same time that Stranger Things became really popular in the zeitgeist. And it's an interesting movie. It's fun, but then it gets kind of bleak. But, you know, it has kind of that, the same vibe as, like, Disturbia, you know, but also it's a lot like Stranger Things, and, you know, it's just going for that same aesthetic and nostalgic vibe. So check out Summer of '84. That's another one I do recommend. Scream Queen is a documentary. People have probably heard of this. It was pretty popular. But Mark Patton's documentary, Scream Queen, about Nightmare on Elm Street 2 and his experience with that movie and the subtext with all the homoerotica. Very interesting documentary. Check it out. Moving along here, we got, let's see, Best Friends. Then we have I Like to Watch. I like that movie. That's what I like. I like to watch that movie. Then we have Indecent Exposure. Then we have The Caller with Malcolm McDowell. That's worth checking out. This was a good movie. I liked it anyway. Then we have L.A. Wars, Malibu High. Then we have Bloody New Year, which I've yet to see. The Killing Kind, Death by Temptation, awesome movie with Sam Jackson and the guy from White Men Can't Jump, Kareem Hardison, I think. Yeah. Yep, and Bill Nunn. This is a good movie. Troma used to have this one. But it's worth checking out. Then we have Shallow Grave. Let's see. Then we have, what is this? Devil's Story. Blades, which is a good Jaws ripoff. I want to say Troma used to have this one too. But Blades is worth checking out. I love Blades. It's fun. Then we have Resurrection. Uninvited, a crazy killer cat movie with George Kennedy. It's pretty wild, bat shit, or cat shit, should I say. Then we have Beware My Brethren. Never seen that one. Oh man, yeah. Paul Bartel's masterpiece. Lust in the Dust, along with Eating Raoul. This is like a really good Paul Bartel movie. Then we have probably one of the most important films of the 70s, guys. Sweetback's Badass Song, a movie by Melvin Van Peebles. If you haven't seen it, it'll blow your fucking nuts. It'll blow your mind. Incubus. This is a film by the same director who did The Legend of Hell House, I think. John Ho. But it stars John Cassavetes, and it has a crazy fucking ending. I really highly recommend Incubus. You'll have a good time with it. Moving down here, I'm going to try and fly through this as quick as I can. Like I said, guys, I love all these movies, but I can't spend all time talking about them. So, we have Prey. We have Star Time. Blue Vengeance. Blood Games. 2 copies of The Candy Snatchers for some reason. Then we have Hollywood Horror House. Hollywood Horror House. Hollywood Horror House. I'm just kidding. Then we have, what is this? Flesh Eating Mothers. This is one that I've yet to lay my eyes on. I'm laying my eyes on that cover there, though. It's pretty nice. Then we have Psychic Killer. 2 copies of Psychic Killer. Old Dracula. Punk Vacation. The Lamp. I recommend The Lamp. That's fun. Killer's Delight. And then we have Through the Fire. There's my other copy of Cutting Class. Fade to Black. 2 copies of Fade to Black. Had to get it. I intentionally double dipped on that one. If you haven't seen Fade to Black, man, it's got Mickey Rourke in it, Dennis Christopher from Breaking Away. And Fade to Black, I'm not going to get into it. I will just say this was one of my favorites growing up. I rented this all the time. And, I mean, this dude was basically me. If you watch the movie, you'll know what I'm talking about. The dude, he was obsessed with film and couldn't get laid. Story of my life. Anyway, then we have Who Done It? Then we have Necromancer. Then we have Night Train to Terror. I believe that's what this is. This is a cool little anthology movie. Night Train to Terror. I think I have another copy of this somewhere without the slip. So we'll see. Then, let's see. The Immortalizer. Haven't watched that one yet. Looks pretty wicked. Summer Camp Girls. Oh yeah, let's just look at this cover real quick. Yeah. I got a buddy who watched this just to get off to it. And it looks pretty titillating. That's all I'm going to say about that. All American Murder. This has got Chris Walken in it, as you can see. And yeah, that's a good movie. I just watched it a few months ago. Grave Secrets. We have Chris Stone. Skin Flicks. I'm not surprised. Vinegar Syndrome. Not surprised. Grave Robbers. 2 copies of Grave Robbers. I think that was unintentional on my part. Tough Guys Don't Dance, which features one of the most ridiculous scenes with Ryan O'Neal. I still love it though. Tough Guys Don't Dance is it's an interesting watch. If you want to get stoned one night or drunk, whatever you guys do, Tough Guys Don't Dance is worth watching for some very goofy moments, some very 80s moments. There's my other copy of Liquid Sky. And I'll just show you the slip cover because you saw the other cover earlier. But look at that slip. Liquid Sky. I definitely recommend Liquid Sky. Jack Frost, which I believe Jack Frost has an MVD rewind now. That's right, it does. Even the sequel. But look at that. Jack Frost. For people who don't know about Jack Frost, that was Shannon Elizabeth's first film, I do believe. And there's an interesting sequence with her in the shower. We're seeing it right there. Yeah. But Jack Frost is great. Then we have The Passing. Have not watched that. Vacation of Terror 1 and 2. Then we have Curfew. Not great, but good. This has Kyle Richards in it. This was, you know, after Halloween and all that stuff. But Kyle Richards was, she was good in this. I don't know what happened to her after this, but she was pretty decent in the film. But Curfew, I had fun with Curfew. Like I said, it's about, you know, it's like a 3 out of 5 star movie. But I remember liking it quite a bit. Anyway, I believe it's time to spin the tower. Alright guys, spinning the tower here. Spinning the tower. Alright, so down here, I'm starting from the bottom. These are the Fun City editions. I think that's what that stands for, FCE. But this was a line, they used to be with Vinegar Syndrome, and now I believe they have their own website, they're on their own. And they were making some of the more interesting titles, or releasing some of the more interesting titles. And I Start Counting with Jenny Agutter. That's a good film. Jeremy. Then we have Alphabet City with Vincent Spano. This is an awesome 80s film. I want to say Nicholas Refn had to have been inspired by this movie because it's got all this crazy neon lighting and it just has a beautiful 80s aesthetic. So check that one out for sure. Then we have Born to Win. Yeah, George Segal. Walking the Edge with Robert Forster turning in one of the best performances of his life. We have Rancho Deluxe with Jeff Bridges. I believe that Jeff Bridges is in this one. But yeah, awesome movie. We have Smile, not the new piece of shit horror film. Cutter's Way, classic. Heartbreakers, Natural Enemies, great movie with Hal Holbrook and Louise Fletcher, played Nurse Ratched in One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. Natural Enemies was from the director of Revenge of the Nerds, Jeff Canoe, and it was so rare you couldn't even find it on DVD or anything, but it's a great, great movie. Then we have Married to the Mob, Michelle Pfeiffer. This one sold like fucking hotcakes, man. But yeah, it's a great, great Jonathan Demme movie. Then we have Morven Kallar. I think that's how you pronounce that. Anyway, this is a film by Lynn Ramsey. She did that movie with Joaquin Phoenix called You Were Never Really Here. She's an interesting filmmaker, to say the least. The Coca-Cola Kid with Eric Roberts. It's worth checking out. Bilitis, or Bilitis, I don't know how you pronounce that. Radio On. Breathless with Richard Gere. That one sold out really fast. Party Girl, classic comedy from the 90s with Parker Posey. Definitely this is worth checking out for sure. It's got that 90s indie spirit imbued in it. Moving on. I'm going to try to fly through these as quick as possible, guys. So we have For Mad Men Only, Prime Evil, Lurkers, Disconnected, Psychos in Love, Pick Up. Then we have some Andy Milligan films here, Seeds and Vapors. Then we have Luther the Geek. I suggest checking that one out. Taboo, which is basically about incest. It's incest porn, that movie. I'm not going to recommend it, but if you guys are curious, check out Taboo. Death Machines, All the Sins of Sodom, Sex World, Raw Force, Bloodsuckers from Outer Space, Graduation Day, one of the earlier films with Linnea Quigley. It's awesome. Check it out. Evils of the Night, Beyond the Door 3. If you haven't seen the original Beyond the Door, it's an Exorcist knockoff, and it's pretty fucking great. It's funny. So then we have Thrust. This is a film that a couple of my friends actually worked on. Christmas Evil, another copy of Christmas Evil. Green Jelly documentary. What is this? Oh yeah, At the Video Store. This is a documentary I need to check out about video stores, apparently. Moving along, we have Don't Open Till Christmas, which I don't know if I can show this one because it might have titty on it. And, oh yeah, it's good. Yeah, Don't Open Till Christmas. Then we have the Amityville Horror, which I think is one of Vinegar Syndrome's best releases. Look at that. Look at that. It was just, I had to have that. Then, let's see, we have Sometimes Aunt Martha Does Dreadful Things, and that's released by AGFA. Then we have Lieutenant Jangles, which used to be on Scream Team Releasing. I actually have both Blu-rays of Lieutenant Jangles. It's a fun movie. The Rainbow Boys, Blood Delirium, and this movie, this movie right here, There's Nothing Out There. It's a film by Rolf Konevsky. And he was doing meta before meta was even a thing. Like before Scream came along. This guy pokes fun of all the horror tropes and shit. And it's about like this frog monster. It's crazy. But Rolf Konevsky was like 19 when he made this film. And it's definitely worth a look. It's a really funny horror comedy. Then we have, what is this? Blood Hunter. Haven't watched that yet. Villains, a great movie with Micah Monroe and Bill Skarsgård. I suggest checking out Villains. The Hearse, classic from my childhood. I used to rent that one all the time just because of the creepy cover. Let's just look at this cover really quick. Yeah, that looks badass. The Hearse, definitely worth checking out. The Undertaker, this is like insanely out of print now, I believe. But Joe Spinell, I mean, come on, man. Joe Spinell is just legendary. Taxi Driver, Maniac. Shit, he's awesome. What was he? He was in the last Movie Star, something like that too. I think that's what the title was. But Joe Spinell, man, he was great. Hobgoblins, another copy of that, I do believe. Nightmare Weekend. I think I have another one of those too. Pigs, this movie Pigs was directed by Mark Lawrence. And for those who don't know him, he was actually, Mark Lawrence, if you've ever seen the old film noir, The Asphalt Jungle with Sterling Hayden, Mark Lawrence was in that movie. And he was also the old man in From Dusk Till Dawn, like the motel clerk. He had a bit part in that. But Mark Lawrence directed this film, and it may have been the only thing he directed. But it was like, it's him and his daughter. It's a wild movie. Check out Pigs. And Runaway Nightmare. Runaway Nightmare. I always thought this cover was cool. I don't know if it has a slip cover or not, but yeah, Runaway Nightmare. Then we have, what is this? Berserker. Reminds me of Clerks. Then we have Unmasked, Part 25. Alright, never seen it. Need to get around to it. Okay, now I've really got to fly through this shit. Don't Answer the Phone. Delirium. Frightmare. We have Nightmare Sisters. Another copy of Nightmare Sisters with Linnea Quigley and all her Scream Queen people. Yeah. There goes Brink Stevens. Yep. Another copy of Night Train to Terror. Then we have Prospect and Gina. And then we have The Werewolf versus Vampire Woman. I've been meaning to check that out. Deathcember, which is a fairly new title. I want to say Barbara Crampton was involved in Deathcember. Let's just look at that cover really quick. Yeah, I love Christmas horror if it's done right. So I haven't checked this one out yet, but I need to get on it. I need to get on a lot of these titles. Moon of the Wolf, Vortex, which I love this cover. This is another Gaspar Noé film. And it's got Dario Argento in it. But I've yet to watch it. But I like that cover. It's got that same split cover going on there, kind of like Slaughterhouse did. So that's pretty badass. Then we have Terror at Tenkiller, which was released recently. Horrible movie. Terror at Tenkiller is a horrible movie, but I had to have it. Ooh, look at that booty. Yeah. Well, Vinegar Syndrome really knows how to make their slip covers sexy and, you know, enticing, to say the least. That's always what got my attention growing up in the video stores, was stuff like this. But anyway, Terror at Tenkiller. The package is better than the movie, to be honest. Then we have Dakra, the Amityville Curse. Not related to the Amityville Horror in any way. In the Soup. Now, this is a great Steve Buscemi movie. It stars Steve Buscemi anyway. And it's got like Jim Jarmusch vibes and John Cassavetes vibes. It gives you that feel. It's a black and white movie, and Seymour Cassel turns in like a really career-defining performance. It's a tour de force. In the Soup is it's worth it. Check it out if you like, you know, 90s indie film and, you know, sort of those movies that kind of move at their own pace. You know, this movie's definitely one of the best indie films of the 90s, in my opinion. And the director actually went on, I believe, to collaborate. Yeah, he was one of the directors of one of the segments in Four Rooms. So, In the Soup, I recommend. Red Surf, early performances from George Clooney and Dee Dee Pfeiffer, Michelle Pfeiffer's sister, who's insanely hot. And Gene Simmons turning in a memorable performance. But look at that cover. It's just badass. The movie, it's, you know, I don't even need to say that the movie, you already know this movie's probably ass, but I mean, it's fun. It's fun. That's about all I can say about most of these titles, that they're fun, you know, they're appealing, but the packaging is normally the best part of some of these. I'll just say that. We're on the last row here, so I'm going to try to fly through these without digressing too much, which I've been doing through this whole video. And so we have The Corruption of Chris Miller. We have The Dead Come Home. We have Memories. What does that say? Memories Within... Let's take a look at that. Memories Within Miss Aggie. This looks like a mystery thriller. I'll have to get on that. Body Melt. I want to say this had a pretty cool cover. Yeah, that's pretty cool. Then we have The Suckling. Next up, we have Dolly Dearest, which has Denise Crosby in it. This was basically at the height of the, you know, the Chucky craze in the early 90s. You know, about a killer doll. And it features a really hilarious performance from Rip Torn. He basically plays like a Mexican. It's hilarious. It was back when everybody was just doing brown face and all that. Casting white actors to play other ethnicities. It's pretty funny. Then we have In the Cold of the Night. We have Dominique. Wacko. Fleshpot on 42nd Street. Then we have Dark Room. We have Bloodorama, Triple Frightmare. Debbie Does Dallas 2. I got a buddy who really got off on this one recently. She's scoring again. Debbie Does Dallas 2. Still in Lace. Sister Sister, Really good movie with Jennifer Jason Leigh and Eric Stoltz too. This was better than what I expected. I really liked it. Really engaging thriller. Kind of quick and to the point too. It didn't overstay its welcome, you know. Knocking, that one was a little underwhelming to me. I watched that one recently, and it just didn't blow my skirt up, man. But you know, it's worth a watch. It has some suspenseful moments, but it just kind of, I felt like it led up to not much, you know. But Knocking, and then the last one, guys, Summer of Fear, Wes Craven's Summer of Fear with Linda Blair. This movie is so good to me. I think I watched it when, you know, when I was young, and I kind of have nostalgia for it. Some people think it's, you know, kind of lackluster, but Summer of Fear, if you're a fan of Wes Craven and you're a fan of Linda Blair, check out Summer of Fear, because, I mean, it has its cheesy moments, but, of course, what 80s movie doesn't? Actually, I don't even know if this was 80s. I think this was, like, 1978. I think it was before Craven did Deadly Blessing. So, and I believe it was a TV movie, so I think he was coming fresh off of, like, the set of The Hills Have Eyes, you know. But Summer of Fear is worth checking out. I do recommend it. And with that, guys, that is it. That is the full tower of these Vinegar Syndrome titles. For those who made it through this whole video, you are the real deal. You are the real MVPs. But you're definitely movie fans like I am. So if you like this kind of stuff, like I said, I talk about horror. I talk about movies. I talk about, you know, cinema in general. That's my thing. So if you like it, be sure to stab the like button. And I'll definitely show off more of my collection. And if you guys want individual reviews of some of these movies, I'm not opposed to doing that. So anyway, that is it. This is Rich with Red Phone Video, and I will catch you guys later. See you next time.